Okay, I want to do a follow-up on the Counterstrike by Redfield. 1 power, red dot optic, mounted over a laser sight. Two separate on-off switches, one for the red dot up here, one for the laser down here. Click the on-off button, turns it from red to green. I don't know if I can show you that in the camera. No, maybe I can. Alright, 4 MOA red dot, click it again, green dot, and then there's 11 different power settings. Probably can't tell the difference there, but the two lowest ones are for, there you go, for infrared use. Click it again, turns back to red, and hold it in, turns it off. Plus it has a 2-hour timer so it doesn't kill your batteries. And then hit the button on the front, and then you have your red laser. Hold the button in, that shuts it off. The laser does not have, I don't think the laser has a 2-hour timer on it. You have to look that up and check that out. Now, what I had to do with this comes with a built-in mount, and I had this on and off of here a couple of different times, and I was careful on how tight I put this to for the torque settings, and it seems to be able to get back on 0 once you take it off and put it back on. I didn't have any problem with that. Have about 100 rounds through it. There's no shift in point of impact, point of aim. Everything seems to be holding up real well on it. Does seem to be a nice heavy quality, which, you know, a little weight savings when you're talking about a couple ounces. I'm not going to complain about a whole lot, but it appears, feels, seems rugged enough. May lose a little of the looks of, say, you know, a Trigicon or an aim point or something like that, but it does seem to be durable from what I've experienced so far. Comes with built-in caps on it. They snap good and tight. The Optic is supposedly waterproof and nitrogen filled. Alright, I have this mounted on my DPMS heavy barrel model. Now, what this came with, and this is what you're going to need to know before you decide to buy the Redfield Counterstrike, because the laser is underneath the red dot. That brings the red dot up off the top of the rifle, so you may get a little cheek weld problems because of its increased height, but it puts it at easy access here. But also it puts the laser close to the top of the handguard here, which this rifle originally came with a standard sight tower on here. The problem with that is, once you turn that laser on, which I am going to do, when you have this sight on your barrel, the laser hits the back of the sight, making it unusable. Alright, so what I did was I took the original sight off, and I put this railed gas block on here, so now the laser can shine out past the end of the rifle. But I lost my front sight, which this rifle didn't come with a back sight, so I have a Magpul flip up rear sight on it. And today I found a flip up front sight for it, which I'm going to put on here very directly. I'm going to turn this laser off so I don't kill my battery, and hopefully this folds down flat enough. Boy, wouldn't this be terrible if it didn't. I have to go to something different if it doesn't. Put that front sight on there, flip it down, and let's see. Well, guess what? It still hits the front sight a little bit, but as you can see, it does go beyond it. I think I may be able to, what I might do is I might just grind a little channel in here for the laser to pass through. But I mean, it seems to be okay. It only, well, it cuts about half of it off. Now maybe with a different model front sight it might be a little lower. This is a fairly cheap one. But I think I'll just go ahead and Dremel a groove into the back of there and then repaint over it so I get the full laser effect off of there. But with the laser on, you can see right down into the sight post and then down like that. Now, when you go for a setup like this, what you need to know and remember is that the gas block Picatinny rail setup is lower than the receiver rail. So you cannot buy a pair of these plastic Magpul sights and expect it to work because the gas block is lower. I'm going to see if I can give you an example of that. You have to make sure when you get a front sight that it says gas block front sight. Now you can see the difference. Now the aperture for the rear sight is down here and the front sight post is up here. There's a little better angle. See the there's a considerable amount of difference there. Take a look at that. See if I can line this up for you. I don't know what the difference in measurements are. I did not actually measure them, but if you take a look there, the front sight is actually almost a 1/4 inch higher. No, it doesn't want to focus, of course. Anyhow, you can see the difference there. It's about a 1/4 inch higher than the rear sight. So when you get a pair of sights for a flat top rifle, the front sight is going to be a different height. Make sure you get a front sight that says for gas block height, because these gas blocks are standard. Alright. Something else I wanted to show you here is that if the optic fails for some reason, you can still see your front sight through the optic without removing it. It ends up right in the bottom of the field of view. It would be a little tough to get a quick sight picture on there, but it does actually show through the bore of the optic, so you can see it if the optic goes down. So that will work. Maybe not the best, but it's there, just barely. So the Redfield is doing good. So far so good. Gonna have to do a little modification on there. I think that'll turn out just fine. I may end up getting a better front sight at some time in the future, but for now that's going to be just fine. I'll groove that out a little bit and be able to use my laser. Okay, so for the Redfield Counterstrike at typically $180, I think that's a win-win, a keeper. I'll be hammering on this thing a good bit, and if I have any problems with it, I'll be sure and let you know. Other than that, have fun and be safe. That Redfield R on there almost looks like Rockstar.